Greetings from PortAventura here in Salou, Spain. Over the next 2 days I'm going to be here at the park breaking down all the reasons to come or not come to PortAventura here in 2026. What are the fors, what are the against, or what are the pros and cons? Shall we head inside and find out? Well, the first pro of the day is without question the stunning location of PortAventura World and this entrance port of Mediterranean, which is absolutely stunning. Across the lake there, Shambhala and Dragonkind in the background. We've got Furious Baco just over to the right here as well. As you walk through here, it is just like a little Mediterranean village. Such a lovely way to enter a theme park. Well, from Mediterranean village, we head straight into the Polynesian jungle. And I love all the different little routes you can take through here, little pathways and things, all take you to the same place ultimately, but it's just it helps everything feel really enclosed, like you're actually in some sort of jungle. We've got waterfalls and views of massive roller coasters. Oh, and a super dry shop. That sort of ruins the illusion slightly, doesn't it? So over here on the beach they do shows throughout the day. I've never actually caught one in its entirety. I sort of get glimpses of it. I might try and catch one over the next couple of days, but again, a massive bonus that they do these sort of things here. Helps soak up the crowds and adds slightly different attractions into the mix instead of just all rides. So I think that's a pro as well. Add that one to the counter. Yeah, I forgot to mention there will be an ongoing counter throughout these videos. Help you keep count, I suppose. That's what a counter does. They also have a very nicely themed pirate ship there on the water, Kentucky Wave, and you can just see it there peeking through the trees. So we're going to take a walk through Sesame Place, and if you didn't catch that, that is a Sesame Street themed area. As you can see here, Big Bird with his back to us, bit rude, but he's chilling and, you know, waving to people on that ride, so we'll let him off. And the skyline absolutely dominated around here by Shambhala. Look at the size of that utter beast of a hypercoaster. I can't wait to get back on that. It's one of my favourite roller coasters in Europe and in fact in the world. I think it currently sits at number 8 or 9 on my top 10. Well, guess what's making its way up the lift hill? Well, Shambhala showing a 50-minute line. It is just about the only roller coaster I've seen open at this point though, so which you explain why, but it does have a single rider line. Yeah, Shambhala still slaps. That is an absolute beast of a B&M hypercoaster. The best version of that particular ride type I've ever been on. It just feels so much more fierce than the others. That extra height and speed makes so much difference. The airtime hills just deliver so much airtime. You're out of your seat for like 5 or 6 seconds over every single hill. Splashdown's awesome. Cooled me off a little bit. I love Shambhala. I absolutely love that roller coaster. So stick that one down on the pro counter. It is, I think, the #1 reason to come here to PortAventura World, as well as this being a beautiful theme park. That is an absolute world-class roller coaster. And I hope to get many more rides on it while I'm here today. But we will have a quick chat about the operations as well, because that's something that PortAventura do get maligned for quite a little bit, especially within the online community. However, I think the ride-ups have got quite a challenging job there because the station was sort of chaotic, and most of that was due to the riders themselves, and the ride-ups were sort of doing their best. But you've got people who are, we're going to one row, chopping and changing, going into another row. The queue line, you've kind of got the gates at the front before you head through into the air gates. you'll get a stream of people move through, and then someone will just stop and hold everyone up when there's clearly room in the air gates for more riders. It's like they're waiting for permission. Some woman needed to have an intense 5-minute discussion with a rider, which held the queue up as well. Can't possibly think what was so important they needed to do that. So I kind of feel a bit sorry for them. They're trying to get things moving. There's a 1-minute counter up in the station to try and encourage the trains to keep cycling through. But people have just got to get their stuff together sometimes, you know, and yeah, but all in all, I think I waited just under 20 minutes in the single rider line, and not too bad at all. A few express passes came in, they needed to have their photos taken again as well. That took time. That's something, again, there's more of an administrative issue that I think maybe they need to sort out here. But otherwise, Shambhala is it's just a world-class roller coaster, isn't it? And there's some nice theming around here in the Shambhala Plaza too. I sort of come through the opposite direction to you usual, because I came up through Sesame Place. The route from Polynesia is actually closed for some reason. Not sure why that is, but there is a huge entrance plaza for Shambhala there. Of course, from the other side it looks far more spectacular. And up in the distance there you see Hurukan Condor, one of the tallest drop towers in Europe. Certainly one of the most intense, 300 plus feet high. The views up there are insane, and the drop is full on. We're going to come to that one later on, because I am still loitering around here in the China section of PortAventura World. It's such a lovely square, this, with the roller coasters behind me, the dragon fountain in the middle. And speaking of dragons, Dragon Khan is what we're going to ride next. Now this actually had a very significant piece of retrack work done over the closed season. They've replaced the loop, the Cobra roll, maybe a couple other bits of track as well. So it'll be really interesting to see how this old B&M sit-down coaster rides, because it used to be quite a rough one. And in fact, one of my most torturous roller coaster experiences was on this back in 2012 when I managed to trap a nerve in my spine. So I've been slightly trepidatious about riding it ever since, but I have done anyway, and I've got to say subsequent rides have been a bit better, but it is a rattler. So it's been really interesting to see how it rides now following all the work they've done. Should we go have a ride? So I've just had my first ride on Dragon Khan since the extensive retrack work. And I've got to say, it's not good news. The two new sections of that track are noticeably worse than everything else, particularly the Cobra roll, which absolutely jackhammers throughout the whole element. It is absolutely awful. The rattle and the shuffle through there, it is like sitting on a washing machine. The loop wasn't as bad, but it was still a noticeably different feel to the track, and not in a positive way. Now that's still a really intense roller coaster, and I still think the 0G roll is the most fierce and most whippy section in both a good way and a bad way, because you are likely to kind of smash your neck against the restraints during there. What I will say though is that this single rider queue behind me here, which people barely seem to notice is even here, was very swift indeed. I waited behind around 4 people, and those people actually pushed past me while I was filming, because I thought some people who were waiting were in the queue, when it turns out they were just kind of sitting there enjoying the view. So there you go. I guess they didn't really push in front of me. It was just yeah, perception. But overall, a very strange experience. Is it a good roller coaster? In places it is. I think the corkscrews towards the end ride really well. It's beautiful across the lovely green luscious grass there as well. It's a lovely ride to look at, but you do get thrown into the restraints a lot. You have to ride in quite a defensive position leaning into the restraints, so otherwise your ears are going to get boxed from side to side. There were 3 English girls sat on the train with me as well. They were all complaining about headache afterwards. So it's one of them rides I think you sort of need to know how to ride to get the best experience out of it. Did it really need the retrack work? That's the question I'm going to ask, because like I say, I do think the new sections detract from the ride more than they enhance it, and that's certainly a concern, especially if B&M were as heavily as involved as it is claimed. Anyway, if you've ridden it since it reopened, let me know what you think down below. I'm on the fence, but seeing how quick the single rider line was, I think I'll probably go back around for another ride or two just to really formulate a more solid opinion. on a line has done me a solid there. Waited no more than 5 minutes, but I think that was worse than the first ride, if I'm honest. I'm not really sure what B&M have done there. If, of course, they were responsible. All I can find out is that they were collaborative on this project. That Cobra roll's terrible, like really bad. I'm shocked at how bad it rides through there. It's pure jackhammering, like sitting on top of a washing machine. So yeah, sadly, I can't give that too much high praise, and that is going to go into the con pile because I had much higher expectations for Dragon Khan on this visit. It's never been a favourite roller coaster of mine. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's probably the worst B&M I've ever ridden. Somehow I think my feelings of it have actually gotten worse with these rides. So yeah, that's one for the con pile. I think I need to go and find some sun cream. So I left mine at the hotel. The sun is beating down now and I'm going to get heavily burnt if I don't go and sort this out. So that's my next port of call, I think. So let's add a few more pros and cons, and the first con is the cost of sun cream here at PortAventura. In a park which is generally very reasonably priced in terms of its merchandise and food, sun cream just cost me €31.95, which feels like opportunism, if I'm honest. However, a major pro opposite me right now is one of the best sightlines you're going to see across any European theme park. Because just look at that view. The lake, the greenery around the sides, Red Force in the background there, Furious Baco to the left. It's a proper Mediterranean fishing village, but with roller coasters, and that's fine by me. Absolute paradise. I mean, PortAventura do things well, they really do them well. However, one other criticism to add is that despite the fact that it's quite busy today, there are very few restaurants open. So I'm actually heading into Far West now, which is the kind of Wild West themed part of the PortAventura, to see if I can find a bite to eat. And people are banned from shooting water on the rapids today. It is cordoned off. Clearly a horrific incident has taken place, or maybe they just don't work. They are dripping though, which suggests there's water in there. And going back to what I was saying before, there's another closed food spot. Jeremiah's Food, a pizza pasta restaurant, also closed, and that's quite a major one. Look at all the seating it has. Side note, but have you tried these new pistachio magnums? They're pretty banging. Now, another major plus point for me for PortAventura is Another major plus point for me here at PortAventura is the way rides interact with each other. And here you see the log flume, which has the track for El Diablo mine train going all around it as well. I think it's a fantastic thing for when you're on the rides. It's also great to view off-ride as well. So for me, that goes in the pro pile. I think it's an awesome sight and something that's really cool to see. Unfortunately, the mine train is not going around at the moment as I speak, which takes the shine off it a little bit. Now, of course, if cowboys are known for anything, it's their optician skills. So it's great to see a nicely themed opticians here called Eyes Hunter. Here in the Far West, your iris, your brand. You are unique. Hi, I'm Ricky Plymouth, and you could do Coastwave a massive solid by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to hit that hype button too, that helps even more. I'm a penguin, by the way, and I'm really not enjoying this heat. So yeah, Long Branch Saloon also closed. I do wonder why so many of the restaurants are shut right now. It's very odd, because they can make a killing with the amount of people that are here today. So I'm going to head into the steakhouse for my lunch, which ironically doesn't sell steak, but they do ribs, and I'm up for that. So just about to tuck into some lunch. I've got some ribs and chips, a chocolate brownie, and an Estrella. That lot came to £22 all in, or about €25. Theme park prices, I guess, but I'll let you know if it's a pro or con after I've consumed my food. Well, the food was pretty solid, all being said. Probably a little overpriced, if I'm honest, but the ribs were decent, the chips were fine, the brownie was really good, and the Estrella hit the mark. In fact, I'm feeling ever so slightly wavy right now, so maybe I'm biased. Anyway, I'm going to go and explore some rides here in Far West. We can go and see what the queue lines are like on the likes of Uncharted and Stampida. Well, Uncharted is rocking a 1 hour 20-minute queue line. I swore that had a single rider line. Maybe I'm misremembering, but it doesn't appear to on this occasion. So we're going to leave that for a little while, probably come back to that one later on because it should hopefully drop off. And if not, I'd much rather wait for it around park close time. So we're going to go and take a quick peek at Stampida and see what that's doing. Chickenpeda. So Stampida is advertising a 45-minute wait. I think that's probably the best option right now. On some recent social media posts, I've been defending Stampida, saying it's not that bad when people complain about how rough it is. I just rode the front row of the blue train there, and it beat the absolute shit out of me. My stomach legitimately feels injured. Maybe I shouldn't have ridden that after I'd just eaten and had a beer. Anyway, yeah, that jackhammered a lot, and there's a couple of turns there where I just got abused, frankly. Yeah, it's fun in places, don't get me wrong. There's some parts of that I really enjoy, and there's other parts that just really hurt. So it depends on your view of wooden roller coasters, really. You expect to get beaten up a little bit. I think that goes just a little bit too far the wrong side of the track, though. Weird. Anyway, yeah, I was on the blue train, so I lost. The red train clearly has some kind of speed advantage. I think that was the side that got the Titan track. It might have been both sides, actually. I certainly didn't notice any sections of track that felt different. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, I might try and ride the red side tomorrow to see if it's any different, but that was quite painful. Oh, it's the abrasive singing vulture. What's it going to sing for us today? Anyway, that's enough of that. You'll get me copyright claimed. So let's head into Mexico, home to Hurukan Condor, and a really quite fun show attraction. If it's open, we'll go and investigate shortly. There goes Hurukan Condor. That really is quite high. The closer you get to it, the more you appreciate the scale of this humongous drop tower. Well, I do usually quite enjoy a ride on Serpiente Emplumada. However, it's very closed. Guess it's going through some kind of maintenance. Yep, it says it right there. Attraction closed for maintenance. And sadly, Templo del Fuego is also closed as well. And that's a really fun kind of show type attraction with loads of effects and fire and water and stuff. Kind of similar to Poseidon at Universal Orlando, if you remember that one. But yeah, won't be riding that on this visit, it appears. That's a shame, because I quite enjoy that. So I was going to hedge my bets and say Hurukan Condor probably has a huge queue. But actually 40 minutes does not seem too unreasonable for what is a relatively low capacity drop tower. So let's go wait it out, shall we? And we're going all the way up there. A long way up, one way down. Hurukan Condor certainly not for the faint-hearted. And for the first time ever there, I actually got one of the sit-down sides. So you have sit-down seats, you also have stand-up seats. I have to be honest, stand-up seats are not very comfortable if you have gentlemen's parts, if you know what I mean. However, sitting down, a much more comfortable experience, and also sitting on this side, some magnificent views looking down on Shambhala from above, which is fantastic. It's a very fierce drop tower. It's over so quickly as well, and in the end, I think I waited about 25 minutes in the single rider line, so not too bad, all things considered. Yeah, that's a really strong drop tower, amazing views, very powerful. Can't go wrong with a ride on Hurukan Condor. Stick that in the pros pile. Walking through these Mexican ruins, it just reminds me of how nice PortAventura can be. Some parts of this park are absolutely stunning. So I mentioned these sight lines earlier. How about this one? Oh, how did I find myself back here? So Angkor up here is very shut as well. Quite a lot of areas closed off today at PortAventura. I do like all them elephant statues on the right hand side there, very cool. So I might have been teasing you a bit there. I'm not going to ride Shambhala again just yet. Instead, we're going to go and hang out with Detective Grover on Sesame Street street mission. Hi Detective Grover, there's such a nice facade out here, and this is dropped down to just a 25-minute queue now, so let's go and head in out of the heat into a nice air-conditioned building for some Sesame Street fun.
¡Descontrolado!
Sesame Street mission is such an underrated dark ride. This doesn't get talked about enough. I think that is so much fun. There's so much that goes on there. You basically help Detective Grover find a giant cookie that's been stolen. It doesn't take a genius to work out that it was Cookie Monster who was behind it all along. But there's so many fun scenes in there. There's a sequence where you kind of go all POV style and you're riding through this building like you're on a ride. It's awesome. It's so much fun. It's one of the best shooting dark rides out there, and I genuinely enjoy that. It's so well themed, really good fun ride, enjoyable for all the family. That goes in the pro pile quite confidently. Running out of superlatives for Shambhala. It is simply one of the best hypercoasters in existence. I'm going to come out and say it, it's the best hypercoaster in Europe. Sorry Hyperion or Hyperia or anything else with hyper in your name to try and make you sound better than you are. Shambhala is the best. It really is. It smacks the others all over the place. In a large part down to how thoroughly consistent it is throughout the ride. The drop is fantastic. That splashdown behind me is amazing. Every single hill delivers. It is an absolute masterpiece, and for my money it's the best B&M I've ever ridden, and I'm quite confident in saying that. So day one at PortAventura complete. I shall see you in seconds for day two. Boom! Congratulations if you're still watching, you have unlocked day two here at PortAventura World. Just began the morning there with another ride on Shambhala because there are only 3 thrill rides open at 10:30. Shambhala, Uncharted and Furious Backhoe. Uncharted had a 1 hour 50-minute wait and I didn't fancy that, so I jumped in the single rider for Shambhala first. It's now around 11:30, so just about everything is open. So I'm going to go for explore, ride some rides I didn't do yesterday. I plan to be back here for the end of the day for some more rides on this absolute beast. But let's go for a little wander, shall we? So one little negative to start the day, other than the sort of staggered ride openings, I suppose, is that you're not actually allowed to bring any food into PortAventura with you other than fruits, which is what I was told by security. So the snacks I bought last night to bring in today had to be thrown in the bin, which is a shame. With the lack of available food options here yesterday, I thought I'd try and do things a little bit on the cheap today, but that's backfired. I'm going to stick that in the con pile because obviously a lot of parks do allow you to bring in food, and it's a bit disappointing that they don't here. There's currently a sort of upcharge Jurassic Expedition on at the moment. It's €3.99. I have no idea what it is really. I might scan the QR code and investigate. So I scanned the QR code and I got a bad gateway, so I don't think I'll be trying that one out today. And I went over to check out El Diablo Mine Train. That's in a 1 hour queue, so I think I'll hold fire on that one for now too. So let's go and explore around the far west. Tomahawk opens very shortly, so that might be a sensible one to get on. Well, good to see the train running today because it didn't seem to be yesterday, so that's another mode of transport for getting around the park. Well, Tomahawk isn't open yet and the queue is spilling out of the entrance and wrapping all the way up to the building. I think I'm just going to suck up the queue for Uncharted El Enigma de Penitence, because that is my favourite ride down in this area. And at least it's sort of indoors, air conditioned, and hopefully the queues ease off a little bit later because it doesn't feel as busy as it was yesterday, but yet the queue times are very high, so hopefully that improves as the day goes on.
Creo que también tienen hermanos antenos. Hey, tu mamá podría ser fiable.
¡Serán el veneno! ¡Oh, no!
So, despite the lengthy and demoralising queue line, Uncharted El Enigma de Penitence is actually a really good indoor family roller coaster. The hardware from Intamin is fantastic. It's smooth, it's thrilling, it has some fantastic drops in there from all angles. You spin, you do stuff sideways, forwards, backwards. There are launches in all kinds of different directions. I think if there's one flaw, it's that there's a lot of screens in there, and if they were integrated better with some kind of physical theming and more practical stuff, it would look a lot better. At the moment it does feel like you're just approaching quite obvious screens, which does take you out of the immersion a little bit, but that's a small gripe really. The actual coaster itself is really good fun. I love that. I think it's a fantastic addition to PortAventura World, and if we get something similar to that at Chessington for the Minecraft coaster as reported, then I think a lot of people who haven't ridden something like this before are in for a big treat. That definitely goes in the pros pile. So these are my surroundings for lunch. I stopped in La Catina. Got a big old stage behind me there as well. And much like the place yesterday, they do a set menu for like €22.50. So I got a salad to start, chicken burrito and chips, and then a red fruit tart. That comes with a drink as well, so I snagged an Estrella. It's quite nice that they do these set menus. Be advised that like many parks across Europe now, you do have to pay an extra €1 for the cup, but you can get that refunded at the end of your meal. Annoyingly, I left my cup from yesterday at the hotel, so I'll be losing €1 on that. I'm down. Otherwise, yeah, this all looks acceptable food. The burrito looks a bit Taco Bell-ish, but you can't have everything. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my grub. Well, I got my €1 back. That's going to make all the difference. And just inside the restaurant here is this model of PortAventura Dreams Village. I guess this is going to be some new accommodation that's coming to the resort. So there's a QR code you can scan. As with everything else here, they seem to be going the QR code route, but the last thing I scanned gave me a bad gateway. So let's look at a model instead. Kind of mad that you can still buy cigarettes from a machine here as well. Just stopping to take a moment to appreciate the Hurukan Condor building. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Well, El Diablo Tren de la Mina has dropped to just a 30-minute wait now, which is far more acceptable than the hour earlier. So I think I'm going to go and give this a ride. Diablo Tren de la Mina is a pretty fine mine train. 3 lift hills, which feels unnecessary, and it is a bit janky in places. I sat at the back, so maybe that did contribute to the ride experience, but it's pretty good fun. There's some fairly thrilling moments. A helix in there, which is quite good fun. The drops are pretty entertaining, and I love the way that it interacts with the log flume as well. Some great on-ride interactions there, which is really fantastic to see. So this just about scrapes into the pro pile, but it's very close. So as I walk through Mexico into Far West, I just think another pro needs to be added to the all-round theming package here at PortAventura, and specifically for the individual themed lands, which all stand out. They're all very different and unique, and they all look really good. That's the key thing. They all feel immersive, well thought out, and while some would argue some of the areas maybe feel a little bit tired compared to past years, I still think this looks better than so many other theme parks. So that goes on the pros list for me, because this is a park that I just enjoy spending time at. You may have noticed I don't actually rate a ton of the rides here, like take out Shambhala, Red Force, Sesame Street, etc. And actually a lot of the rides here are a bit dated and rough, but the park itself is such a lovely place to be in that I would come back here time and time again. Just come to pay my respects. Well, I've got about 2 hours and 10 minutes left of ride time here at PortAventura. I'm about to dedicate 20 minutes in a queue for a log flume, because I fancy getting a little bit damp. The weather's really warmed up now, and a 20-minute queue for Silver River log flume sounds fairly reasonable. Let's dive in. Yeah, I'm a little bit damp. That got me on all 3 drops. But You know what, that's a pretty good log flume, that is. Especially on a hot day like this, you know, you want to be able to get a little bit wet, cool off a bit, and you dry off quite quickly in this heat anyway. So yeah, I enjoy that. Like I mentioned earlier, the interactions with El Diablo, really cool. The train came right in front of us before the second drop, so that was a really awesome little interaction. It's a very solid log flume. I enjoyed that quite a lot. It's another one for the pros pile. If you like log flumes, I think you're going to enjoy that one. So I was debating between going and doing the rapids or doing crazy barrels, and as I walked past the breakdance, it looked so much fun. I was like, you know what, I've got to do it. You don't get that many chances to hit a breakdance in the UK, so let's go do it. So 24 crazy barrels was really good fun. I love a breakdance, and I think there are so many UK parks that could benefit from them, especially Thorpe Park. It seems to be right in their target demographic, and Alton Towers as well. I mean, there's a big space that the Enterprise left, perfect size really for a breakdance. So there's around an hour of ride time left, and I could go and spend that in the 1 hour long Furious backhoe queue and ride something that has a nice launch, is not one of my favourite coasters, or I could go and spend my time more constructively in the single rider line of Shambhala, where I may get 2, possibly even 3 rides in. I think I'm heading to China. So 2 more rides on Shambhala to round off my time here at PortAventura World. And it's been another really good visit. You know, the park has been busier than anticipated. There have been a few rides, attractions, and even areas of the park closed off, which is a bit of a shame. But there is something special about this park. It just feels like a tropical paradise. It's got a different vibe to almost every other theme park around, particularly in Europe. And this is just a park that kind of has my heart. So the total pros and cons are up on the screen now. I'll be honest, I haven't really kept in touch as I've been walking around, because 2 days there's a lot going on. But if you like this format, let me know, because it's something new I'm trialling at the moment. Obviously I'm filming a few other bits here at PortAventura as well, so there'll be some stuff up on the screen. And thank you very much for watching Coast Wave. I'll catch you soon.